Welcome back to Interview Ninja Step 43. 2 more ways to engage the subconscious of the listener and trigger a learning response, which are exaggeration and out of date. Summarizing the 5 conscious to subconscious ways to grow subconscious boundaries during a Socratic dialogue. That sounds complicated, but in a normal person, all their learning goes through the conscious mind and occasionally engages the subconscious, but usually the subconscious shuts down learning. So you have to convince the subconscious that there is something worth listening to and worth revisiting the internal decision-making processes so that learning can be enabled. And
if you're talking about the exaggeration that I'm thinking that you're talking about, it may be to get your point across. So we were talking about a few sessions ago the price of going to the Berkeley University of Business.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the price for a year, and it was something like however many $1,000s a day.
Yeah.
And I bumped it up a tiny bit to get the wow factor, or I rounded it down to get the wow factor.
Yeah.
And that was a form of exaggeration in order to demonstrate the wow factor. Is that why you use exaggeration for the wow factor?
exaggeration can be for the wow factor, but usually it is so the subconscious of the student is stimulated to engage in the conversation by effectively saying to the conscious mind, what you just heard is outside of the range of what I have stored as your own beliefs on that subject. The conscious mind then makes a decision to be passive or challenge or seek clarification. It is a way of helping the student to become more aware of their values and potentially develop them into well-informed individuals with opinions and beliefs that are of the adult mind.
I use exaggeration because when I sort of say something to, let's call you a student. You're not really a student. You know what the relationship is.
I know what the relationship is, but nonetheless, you are teaching me. Well,
I'm trying to help you.
Me.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you.
Yes.
Know stuff you don't know already.
Helping me then.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to help you. We could say coach or advise, or there's lots of mentor. There's lots and lots of words for it. They all mean different things, but it doesn't matter. So I exaggerate because what I'm hoping is you'll think in your own mind, that's wrong. That's an exaggeration. It's a different kind of wrongness. It's, if I say 19 out of 20 people prefer to go to church on a Sunday than not, or at least to have some kind of spiritual meaning. So as Christmas comes along, I reckon 19 out of 20 will carry out some kind of religious act in this country.
And you do that so that you exaggerate like that. And I believe that the statement you've said, people do something spiritual on Christmas Day, let's boil it down to, I believe. But I'm pretty sure that you're way over the mark on what you said. So it feels again like the running with a kid just behind you example.
Yeah.
Because that's something they can work out.
You might have an opinion that's different to mine.
Yes. But it empowers them again. It's like the being wrong thing.
Yeah, it's a variation of being wrong in a way.
Yes.
But being wrong is really being wrong.
Yeah, no, saying like that cup is
that's
red
a black. Yeah. But exaggerating would be to say, do you know what? I reckon you could get almost 100 weight of chocolates into that box if you pack them in really carefully. If you know what 100 weight is, 50 kilograms. I reckon you could get 50 kilograms in that box. And then I'd go through a little ritual. I'd say, I wonder how many, they might tell you here, they're bound, I'll forget, I'll say, they're obliged by law, authoritative voice, they're obliged by law to say how many kilograms there are in this. And I'd be pretending to be looking for it. Meanwhile, I'm hoping you're thinking, there's no way I can get 50 kilograms of chocolates into that box. But guys,
Nuts. Yeah.
well, he's wrong. He's wrong. And
I would think you were nuts if you said you can get 50 kilograms.
Yeah.
That's
But
beyond
so
wrong.
it's an exaggeration, but it makes you feel a bit more powerful. It levels you back up.
Yeah, it gives you a little moment of going.
But also it might make you think, well, I wonder how many kilograms of chocolates you really could get in that box. And then you might start thinking, well, you might start thinking about, well, is that box good value? I wonder how much that box cost for chocolates. Is that a cheap and cost-effective way of buying chocolates? So then we look on the back, enjoy them, reuse them. Here we go. It's 726 or 750 grams, including the wrappers. So what's that in terms of kilograms?
I know what you're doing, and that's why I'm sitting here in silence.
Could you answer the question?
Yeah, it's 0.7 but 5, but I'm not going to jump in and.
But how much is that as a fraction? How much of that is that?
Yeah, but I'm not going to jump in and do that when that is the most. I know I know it's been obvious the whole time now that I know that you were doing it, but I saw you waiting for me to answer that, and I wasn't going to.
Okay. It's an example of exaggeration.
Yeah.
And I might have said, oh, I think that.
No, but that was also.
It might be 2 kilogram box.
Yeah.
That would just be wrong. That might be a 2 kilogram box. Okay, that's wrong. But an exaggeration, if I reckon we could get 2 kilograms into that box. Then.
Yes, no, I see the difference.
All right. Right, and the last one.
If you remember, this session is about different ways to stimulate learning, which is getting the subconscious engaged in the conversation and either adding or changing what it has stored. There are trigger points in a person's conscious mind as it processes the conversation second by second. It is as if the subconscious has done a deal with the conscious mind and given it responsibility to manage behaviour at a simple and familiar level, but report back to the subconscious part of the person's mind anything that is unusual or out of range. This creates a potential pathway during the teaching process. We need to trigger that process if the student is to learn. This is covered in some detail in the Get the Job You Want course, in which we explain all the different thought paths in a person's mind, so that you can become aware, analyze, understand, and improve.
Is when you say something that's dated or obsolete. Okay, so, and that's easy for me to do, but clearly it's much more important that what you learn is modern and new and relevant to use. So if I'm starting...
No, but I agree with you, but I can see how that lines up with the other things we've been talking about.
Right.
Because that's another category of things in which people... It's more opinion-based and less factual. It's not like, 2 years ago we could have got 50 kilograms in this box. Like, it doesn't make a difference. It's more an opinion-based thing, as in, I think it should be like, and then a dated opinion. I think there shouldn't be racial equality, would be an extreme one, right? Because that was maybe how it was back then. But it's actually it's technically up to you how you think that should be gauged, although it should be, well, of course, you have that choice whether you actually believe that in your own head. Well, it's opinion, it's not fact.
I love it that Corbyn is talking so fluently about the difference between opinion and fact. I think he still has progress to make when it comes to thinking clearly using critical analytical thinking about the different categories of things, people, opinions, values, and beliefs. In classical Aristotelian terms, this is about the physic and the metaphysic, and drifting into abstract areas like philosophy. This in itself is a thought swamp with quicksands that suck up the time and energy that we have to focus instead on being practical and purposeful. If you want to pursue those kinds of subjects, then that's fine. They are interesting, but it's very, very hard to turn them into anything practical that you can potentially use in an interview, unless it's for some academic institution for philosophy or something like that. But if you're going for a job interview, if you start talking about Aristotelian ethics, then you're not going to get very far. They're certainly not going to offer you a job.
Well, some of the examples I give you every now and then of, I don't know, it might be countries or whatever, okay? But let's say I was talking about the different countries I've been to in Africa. So I've been to Kenya, Tanganyika, Rhodesia, Southern Sudan. Okay? Now, how many of those exist?
2.
Yeah. So, but I'd be listing.
Yeah, I thought you were doing that. I was like, I've never heard of any of those places. Well, 2 of them.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it will be dated because it used to be true.
Yes. And now there's something else.
Yeah. Zimbabwe used to be Rhodesia.
And what was the other one?
Tanganyika,
Tanganyika,
Uganda,
yeah.
you know, whatever they're called, you know, they're called modern stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the point is, by saying something that's dated, it empowers you to think of me as someone, he knows a lot of stuff, but he's a bit out of date. Or a lot out of date. And so you translate what I'm saying, and you have responsibility to bring it into the modern world, because you can clock that what I'm saying is clearly dated. So it's basically a meta-language way of saying, this is how it used to be. It's up to you for how it is now. But I don't pitch it like that, because that would be giving you something to do. I just use a thing that's dated, and in your mind, you're meant to catch that. You'll see it. Oh, what's that? What's he mean by that? That's old. But you own then bring it up to date, or not, because these are seeds. And unless you nurture seeds,
Yes.
they just lie in the ground.
Sit there.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a bit of a long thing. I wasn't sure I was going to go down there. But just to...
Okay, so
it's you sow learning seeds that require involvement to grow into learning. All right? And it's 5 types that need to be sown like seeds into the right ground and the right distance apart. So if you use these techniques all the time, they don't work, because it's like putting too many seeds in one hole. Things that grow need space.
yes.
And that's what this learning is growing. Learning is sowing seeds. The person, I can't nurture them. I'm giving you a pack of seeds. Okay? And you've got to take them away or not, okay? So they're what I call paths and ploys to learning. So I try and tell you paths, I try and give you prompts. They're not about reward or certificates. You know, I'm not going to give you a pass or a failure on any of this stuff, which normal learning is, okay? They're not about pleasing others. They're to empower you. Okay. So you can watch back videos. You'll see me using those techniques every 5 minutes.
Yes, no, I'm intrigued to listen to you more just in general conversation now.
All of session 8, which in this Interview Ninja course appears as steps 40 through 43, has been about changing the interpersonal dynamic between Corbin and myself. The process of becoming self-aware and having the soft skills to control your own life does involve several phases or cycles. We're trying to change thinking and behaviour patterns that have been built up from early childhood and bypassing conscious filters that the subconscious has placed into the conscious mind to shut out irrelevant information and not bother it. In following sessions, I don't have to worry about his self-confidence and triggering, and we can talk directly through to his subconscious. It's what most people think of as becoming open-minded or broad-minded. In step 44, we move on towards helping to develop his social intelligence. So we're talking more about his interaction with other people and learning from role models and people he admires, and various other aspects of interpersonal dynamics. Party on.